All right. If you are watching this live right now on YouTube, or you're just simply watching the replay, welcome to the Former Athlete Society. This is my accountability call. And if you're a little unsure of who I am and what I do, number one, my name is Adam Ringler. I'm a strength conditioning coach. I've been one for nearly 20 years at this time. And these videos are all about taking the lessons that I've learned throughout my entire time coaching in this realm and delivering them to you. So, that is what we're going to do today. We're going to end up talking about 5 different accountability topics that's going to help you improve your life, your performance, your fitness, and everything else in between. But let me say this right up front. If you're here, you're already doing something that most former athletes don't. You're showing up. And if you're watching this later, same deal. You didn't scroll past it. You didn't save it away to your watch later bookmarks. You didn't say, I'll get to it at some point in time, press play. No, you simply got into this video and you are watching it right now. Now, I'll be honest with you. I never assume that anybody watches these calls, although the analytics that I have actually suggest that people do, which is kind of crazy to me when we first started this video series. But sometimes it's a few people, sometimes it's a few hundred, sometimes it's somewhere in between. But it doesn't matter. What I've learned to love is that because how we've built this community. If it's one, if it's 50, if it's 100, doesn't matter. If I'm just you and me and I'm just staring into a camera talking to the other side of the screen, these conversations, guess what? They still matter because what we're talking about today is the gap. Now, that gap, yeah, it's essentially how disciplined you were as an athlete versus how hard it feels to stay consistent now, right? The gap between structured lifts, team schedules, accountability, everywhere in between. And the reality of work, travel, family, weather, stress, and adult life, all of this really matters. Now, the Former Athlete Society exists because we want to close that gap, not with hype, but not with perfection, but with real practical discipline that actually fits real life. So, today, like I said at the intro of this show, I'm going to talk about 5 different ideas, 5 topics that I talk about even if no one showed up to watch these videos, because these are the 5 exact things that I use every single day. These are the conversations that former athletes actually need to have, not the fluff, not the Instagram reels, none of that stuff. This is the stuff that actually really matters. So, without further ado, let's get into our first topic of the day. But before I do, I simply want to say this, right? If you have yet to actually even hit our subscription, I want you to do that right now. Hit the like button to this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and then smash that notification bell because that helps our algorithm deliver these videos to more people so they get this same advice that you're getting right now. So let's jump into it. Let's start with something that might bother you a little bit. If you hate cardio, you're never going to stay consistent with it, right? Now, I've been in this space a long time. I've coached athletes, I've trained athletes, I've watched former athletes beat themselves up because they know better. But for whatever reason, they still can't stay consistent. And 9 times out of 10, it's not a knowledge problem, it's an enjoyment problem. So here's the thing that nobody says really, at least out loud: cardio isn't the problem, right? It's not, right? It's the way that you're trying to do it. That's the problem. So if you loathe the spin bike, if you hate the elliptical, if you hate the VersaClimber, if it makes you want to quit before you even start your workout, your motivation, yeah, it will always be low, always. And no amount of discipline or self-talk will ever fix that. So right now for me, right, your boy, the colder Colorado weather, I'm doing a lot of my low impact zone 2 work on the spin bike in my basement. And I'll tell you this straight up: I'd rather be outside. I'd rather throw on my ruck, hit the trails, breathe fresh air, get some sunlight, and feel like a human again, right? The reality is I can't do that. Well, I mean, I could if I really wanted to. I understand how seasons work. I'm not going to be able to do that, at least in the wintertime. So winter is a momentary compromise for me. It's not my identity. It's not what I'm going to forever do. I know that when the weather turns, I'm back outside. I'm back hiking. I'm back moving in a way that feels good to me. That's the point, right? You don't need to force yourself into someone else's version of cardio. You need to find yours. And if you like community, then go for a run or a jog or walk with other people. If you like nature, then get outside, right? Whenever you can. If you like competition, look at things like high rocks or CrossFit, right? There's endless variations of things that you can do, Now, former athletes all the time, they get stuck because they think cardio has to look a certain way. It doesn't. Consistency beats modality every single time. So if you enjoy it, you'll do it more often. And if you do it more often, your health improves. And if your health improves, everything else gets so much easier. And that's, quite frankly, that's the chain reaction. And if you're stuck right now, you have to ask yourself this honestly, right? Am I avoiding cardio because I'm lazy or because I've chosen the most miserable version possible? Fix that first, and everything else tends to increase and get better. So, awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, hey, if you are liking this content right now, right, do me a favor, right? Hit the like button on this video. Let me know that you are loving what you're watching right now. Do that for the YouTube algorithm. That helps get this video out for everybody else. Let's move on. Once you've got that sort of movement, right? You got that nailed down. It doesn't feel like punishment. We need to talk about something that maybe just as important because even if you enjoy what you're doing, your motivation will still dip. And when it does, internal drive alone isn't always enough. And that brings me to the second thing I want to talk about today, right? And we're going to talk about borrowed accountability and how this works. So, let me say something that sounds almost uncomfortable even to repeat out loud. Sometimes you need some pressure. Yeah, you need some pressure in your life. You need some external drive. Not forever, not in an unhealthy way, but in the short term, external pressure can actually keep you moving forward towards your goals when your motivation fades. So, former athletes are used to this, whether or not they realize it or not, right? Coaches, teammates, training partners, strength staff, schedules, there was always somebody watching you, someone expecting something out of you. Then sport ends, and suddenly it's just you. It's just you, right? Your results by yourself. And that's where things can often slip up. So, one of the simplest ways to sort of recreate accountability is social exposure. Tell people what you're going to do, tell people what you're aiming for, create some stakes. Because once your word is out there, it's harder to backslide, at least quietly. So, when you tell a few close people what your goals are, what your plan is, what matters to you, they become mirrors, not judges, but mirrors. They keep you honest, right? They keep pushing you forward. For me, when people ask me about my nutrition, I tell them exactly what I'm working towards. I tell them that I want to be north of 200 pounds, lean muscle mass. That way, if I start drifting, if I start cutting corners, someone can give me that sort of look across the room, right? That little wink and nod that says, hey, you sure about that? Right? That's enough to pull me back in line. You don't need a massive audience. You don't need to blast it online for everybody to know. You just need 1 to 3 people who know what your plan is and isn't afraid to remind you of it. That's not weakness. That's actually strategy, right? Even elite athletes don't train in a vacuum. They surround themselves with pressure on purpose. So borrow some accountability until your habits are strong enough to stand on their own. So, if you are this far in this video, a couple different things. I would love for you to go over to Instagram right now. My handle is Adam Ringler. I'd love to give you or have you follow my account. So again, you get the behind the scenes access to everything that we're building here in the Former Athlete Society because I post clips on there all the time. I give you some point of views that you don't often get to see in college athletics, and I want you to have some of that access. Now that accountability is sort of set, the next challenge, at least on today's show, is especially for former athletes with demanding careers. It's time, not lack of it. It's actually really a misuse of it. And that's where this next topic comes in. So let's talk about it because this one is a really important one, right? And I want to keep this video rolling because once you figured out your movement that you don't hate, and once you've added some external sort of accountability systems to keep you honest, the next bottleneck for most former athletes shows up really fast, really sudden, and it's hard to escape. And that's time. Not because you don't have it, but because it gets burned without intention. And that's precisely what I want to talk about right now. So, I want to open up this section with something that sort of completely changed how I move through my days. Everyone talks about being busy. Now, former athletes, especially, right? We get it, right? We work, travel, responsibility schedules. That never slows down. And for a long time, I told myself the same story that there wasn't enough time in the day, enough hours in the day. But here's the shift that actually really mattered. I stopped being a consumer and I started becoming a producer. So, with all the travel I do, airports, team buses, hotels, waiting around, I realized how much of the day was being spent passively consuming things. Podcasts, Netflix, random scrolling, right? All of these things. Content that I didn't even remember an hour later. And it felt like rest. It felt like I was actually using this time leisurely or from an entertainment standpoint, but it wasn't recovery. It was just time that was disappearing, right? So I made a deliberate decision. Travel time became creation time. Instead of listening, I write. Instead of watching, I record. Instead of killing time, I build something. For me, that's what I call a lifetime, right? That's where you engage. That's where you're producing something that moves your life forward, a document, an outline, a video, a plan, an idea. Here's the thing, that doesn't mean that you never rest. It means that you stop defaulting to consuming or consumption every single time that there's friction or boredom. So, former athletes, yeah, we thrive when we're building towards something, when there's output, when effort creates momentum. And if you're feeling scattered, unfocused, or behind, take an honest look at how you're actually consuming versus creating, because even a small shift matters. One flight, one evening, one block of focused output instead of passive noise. That is how you reclaim time without having to add hours to your day. So, moving on from here, and hopefully everyone that's watching this video, a couple different things. Hopefully you are liking this material and you are watching this and you're saying, this is something I resonate with. This is material that I actually really enjoy. And if that's the case, I invite you to head over here. This is my website, adamringler.com. I run a few different things from this website for training programs, for former athletes, right? Whole wide degree of different sort of training splits that you can subscribe to. I also run this sort of thing, the Former Athlete Society, which is a paid tier. But there's a forever free blueprint tier that gets you private access to all the articles, all the communities, all the things, and you get behind the scenes access to what we're building. So maybe head over there. Once again, it's right there on the screen, adamringler.com. Head over to that site, sign up today. It's completely free. And I promise you'll get a lot of value out of it. Now, moving on to something that's maybe a little bit more practical, right? But is still incredibly effective. And this is about sort of how you shape what you do. Now, I'm going to invite you on something that's sort of peculiar. I want you to be the weirdo. Now, what do I mean by that, right? Basketball season is basically a perfect storm for people like me, right? Overeaten, especially for support staffs and coaches, right? We're around food constantly, team meals, travel meals, late night snacks, convenient stops. But here's the reality. We're not burning 1,500 calories anymore from the practices or the shoot arounds or the lifts or the on-court work. No, we're standing there, we're coaching, we're observing. That mismatch adds up super fast. In season, the travel schedule and meal frequency alone can quietly push the scale in the wrong direction if you're not paying attention to it. And pretending that it won't happen doesn't make you disciplined. It just makes you reactive later, makes your summertime cut way harder. So, yeah, I'll say it. Be the weirdo. Be the person who brings the kitchen scale to the restaurant. Weigh out your food. Track your macros. Stay accountable, even when it's inconvenient or a little uncomfortable. Now, you don't have to derail your nutrition just because you're eating out or traveling. For me, precision doesn't disappear when the season starts. It becomes way more important, right? That's the time that you actually have to lock in. Your health depends on it. Your performance depends on it. Ultimately, your body definitely depends on it. So, I want to finish this video strong. And with that said, if you have yet to do this, this is where you can, right, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're building something special here, and I want you to be a part of it, right? So all you got to do, navigate to this screen somewhere up here in one of the corners or at the bottom, hit subscribe to this sort of YouTube channel and become part of what we're building here in this community. Hey, everybody, I wanted to take a quick 30 seconds and just give you some basic information about the Former Athlete Society. This is the community that I've built to support the former athlete, the one person who's exhausted all of their eligibility, but still want to reclaim their glory days. So in it, you get one-on-one access to me as a coach. You get comprehensive program design delivered straight to your phone via Bridge Athletic. You also get the live Q&A calls. You get a digital archive of every single video that we've ever recorded, all of our master classes, all of our private articles, our community to interact with other former athletes. This is a community that I cherish, that I love, and I'm so glad that I've built this over a year ago. I want you to be a part of it. Head over to adamringler.com/former athlete. Check out the link there. You'll find all the information needed to access and to gain entry into our community. Check it out, adamringler.com/former athlete. This last topic ties everything together, whether it's motivation, energy drops, progress stalls, former athletes, right? All of this. But This is something I want to kind of address because a lot of times when athletes aren't progressing the way that they think they should, it's a nervous system issue. And this is where we can really dive in deep and talk about strategies that can actually fix it. So let me say this clearly. If your motivation suddenly drops, it might not be your discipline. It might be your central nervous system asking for a break. Now, former athletes, yeah, wired to push, to chase numbers, to stack intensity. And that all works until it doesn't. Now, when I feel that dip, I don't quit the gym. I don't disappear. I don't run away from it. I just change my target. So instead of chasing weight or reps, right, I shift a volume. I don't progressively overload on those days. I just chase a pump. I extend sets out. I slow things down. I have fun training. This gives my CNS, my central nervous system, room to recover while still keeping the habit alive, showing up into the gym. Now, you're not weak for needing a deload. You're actually smart and intelligent for recognizing it. Consistency doesn't beat, or sorry, consistency doesn't mean grinding all the time. It means adjusting without abandoning. And that's how careers last long. That's how training lasts. That's how former athletes stay strong well after their sport ends. Now, if you take nothing else from this call, I want you to take this away. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. You need to find enjoyable movements. You need to borrow accountability from structures and systems where you can rely on that accountability of others. You need to be sort of shifting your ecosystem to have productive time use, small tactical habits, smarter training adjustments, those things. That's how structure comes back. And that's precisely what the former athlete society exists for. Not nostalgia, not hype, practical discipline for real life. Now, if you're here live or you're watching this right now, right, I appreciate you, right? Stay connected, stay consistent. We're going to keep building this athletic lifestyle together, and I want you to be a part of it. So thank you. Stay strong, stay healthy. Until the next video drops, keep pushing it.